Good evening, everybody. How are we doing tonight? It is Thursday night. Um, I would do Sharon Altman actually nominated me. There's one of these things on Facebook where it's like every day you post an album that influenced a lot of your musical taste. So figured I would do that tonight, except I'm a real unorganized person, so trying to do one every day would never work for me. So I just picked out a group of about 10 albums, 10 different artists, and I'll talk a little bit about where they came from in my life and what they and how they kind of moved on to other stuff. So let's see. And so it'll be pretty random, but we'll start with band Free. Had Paul Rodgers and Paul Kossoff and Andy Fraser, Simon Kirke. And this is their first album, Tons of Sobs, which is very blues influenced. 3 albums later is when they had the hit All Right Now, but this was a lot more bluesy sounding. And then buying this led to Bad Company and a lot of the other English blues bands at the time, which I listened to a lot of. And like I said, it all kind of cascades from there. But I bought this probably when I was 16, 17. And I remember buying it from Mr. Record, for those of you in St. Louis. So that's definitely one of them. Let's see. Tommy Bolin Teaser. I remember buying this. I think I bought this one probably at one of the maybe Musicland. Anyway, then it's his first solo album. It came out roughly about the same time they joined Deep Purple. Tommy Bolin started out in Zephyr, went on to James Gang after Joe Walsh left, did 2 albums with them, and then did the solo album about the same time he did an album with Deep Purple. And then he did one more solo album before he passed away from heroin overdose. But this album definitely shows off his guitar style, and he's influenced a lot of other players over the years. And he did some jazz albums as well. At some point, all these artists, I know I'll do a much more expanded thing on them, but Tommy Bolin's another one of the artists that I remember picking up early on. Influenced me. And then those of you know me, it's Black Sabbath. This is Master Reality, probably like the second or third album I actually bought. And this is the actual copy. And I can tell you I bought it from the Kmart in Bridgeton, probably around 1982. So it is a late 80s issue with the plastic sleeve on Warner Brothers. After I found that, and I bought all the Ozzy albums, and then, like I said, it's kind of took my path down a hard rock way for quite a while. Still listen to it to this day. Let's see. And then another, I said, the record room needs some organization, so I couldn't get to all the vinyl, but so I have this on vinyl somewhere. This is Slade's latest. And this has their 70s hits, and they also kind of had a comeback around the 80s. This is kind of a reissue of their greatest hits. So Slade, definitely, I was a big-time Slade fan, still am. Own quite a bit of their stuff, and we'll go through their whole catalog at some point. Another one that this actually had some case stuff on it. Old, New, Borrowed, and Blue. And in the U.S., this was actually issued as Stomp Your Hands, Clap Your Feet. But Slade also led to T-Rex. And I've got a whole lot of T-Rex. This is the Slider, which was the follow-up to Electric Warrior, which I think this is a better album. This was actually produced by Tony Visconti. Ringo Starr took this picture, and he also had done the movie. We'll talk about the T-Rex movie when we do a whole T-Rex thing here at some point. So, like I said, this is definitely an influence on a lot of the other glam rock, 70s rock at that time, sweet other bands, which I said I got into a lot of them. Again, Deep Purple in rock. This is the first one with Ian Gillan. Definitely went more harder rock after that. And that'll move into Ian Gillan solo stuff, and also Rainbow and a lot of other artists, side artists of the English rock stuff at that time. Definitely a major influence and a lot to listen to today. Um, so this is Savoy Brown, and this is the album. We'll hear a little bit in the background there. Is Looking In. The artwork is what drew me in, but this again was another one of the English blues bands. They're actually still touring as a trio. The guitarist Kim Simmons is the singer these days. I think they had on the Blues charts like a #2 album last year. But this album is their fourth album, I believe. And at this point, everyone left afterwards, but 3 of the 4 members of Foghat came out of this album. And they moved on, and then Kim Simmons formed a new version of the band that did a little more 70s hard rock. And then Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here, probably my favorite album by them. It's and that leads into a lot of the sideways way. I'll lead you a lot into the prog rock that I like. A lot of obscure kind of stuff, but this is definitely one of their most influential albums, I would think. And I got 2 versions of that tonight, actually, just by chance. At some point, we'll get all the vinyl out. And then again to hard rock, this is Motorhead, Ace of Spades. Pretty hard rock, and definitely had some punk influence that led into finding other bands like the Ramones and other more hard rock, faster bands. And then Bad Brains, Rock for Light. I bought this on vinyl early on, definitely probably about the time I went away to Carbondale. Met a lot of people from Carbondale that were into the punk scene, and found a lot more punk music that way, which I still listen to today, but definitely influenced a lot of my taste. And then the last 2, first one is Bonzo's Dog Band. Sorry, I had Neil Innes, I forgot his name all of a sudden. But they were definitely very much kind of art school people, and they influenced Monty Python quite a bit. And Neil Innes wrote a lot with Monty Python. He wrote a lot of the Ruddles music, most of the Ruddles music. But they definitely have very dry wit, very English, similar to Monty Python, but kind of led me into buying a lot of humorous music as well. And then finally, we'll talk about Weird Al. Remember buying this, I believe, at Backstage Records, and this is probably the original copy I bought. And after I'd heard My Bologna somewhere, but he's still out there doing it today. I think he won a Grammy a couple of years ago. And interesting. So going from there, I started finding other parody artists, and that kind of led into, by the early 90s, we'll get into sometime, my major love of Christmas music. And I said we'll start doing that at some point. But those are probably, that's a good sense of albums that have influenced my other taste. Like I said, that's 10 albums. It was hard to kind of pick that. I said all those albums lead to other albums and other artists. Like I said, The Free will lead you to Bad Company. Some of Paul Kossoff's solo work. Andy Fraser had some nice stuff on his own. Andy Fraser actually came from John Moyle's Blues Breakers. I think he was only 14 when he left, so no one was over 20 when they recorded their first album. So there's a lot of amazing kind of weird interplay. A lot of these bands traded off players, and a lot of them are still out there today, and they influence the newer generation as well. But as we go on, I'll try and kind of do like one night on one band, and at some point we'll get into reissues too. I'm kind of a geek for different versions of albums and remastering. We can talk about who remasters, what the sound quality changes are, and things like that. Digital versus analog. I know there's a lot of arguments there, but I'm happy to share my opinion. Not that means anything. Anyway, that's about all I got for tonight. Thanks for sharing, for nominating me. I was kind of, they said it's not anything I'm real good at doing every night, so I just did it one shot. Hope you enjoy it. If you have questions or you're interested in these bands, I'll be happy to chat offline about any of them and ramble on. I can do that anytime. If there's something anyone has suggestion for, I'll be happy to try and go through that as well. Otherwise, everyone stay safe. It's going to get cold here, so keep warm. Watch out for each other. Be kind, and be thankful to everyone out there doing what needs to be done to keep things running until we get through this. Everyone, take care. Have a good evening.